land, I'll be carrying them. So be making small money, and I even said to you, I beg now, person they beg you, they hear. Even person will say one sell us, I feel bite yours. Now we don't even ban keke, ban mara. I'm just running so good. Even in a month, I can even be making.
You know what I want you guys to do for me? Take this thing, pick this thing, and get him out of my office.
No, it's not
rubbish.
Ma, you're not even getting. He's not drinking that. No, it's not that. You're not getting anything. See, and you make contact of me. You make contact of me.
iBrandTV, business first.
Hello and welcome to News Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. First, the headlines. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says Nigerians' drug addiction is thrice the global average. Federal government to end petrol subsidy June 2022 as World Bank condemns 2.9 trillion naira funding. Central Bank of Nigeria says newly launched digital currency platform iNaira will be free for 90 days. Now the foreign saying several civilian leaders arrested in Sudan as military seize power. We're glad to have you join us here. Here's some stories making headline at this hour. I am Margaret Opara. The President of Nigeria on Monday arrived in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where he will be attending the Future Investment Initiative Institute Conference. Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, stated that the President arrived at about 11:50 p.m. According to the statement, Buhari was perceived at King Khalid International Airport by the Deputy Governor of Riyadh, Prince Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Abdulaziz. President Buhari, alongside other world leaders, will participate in the opening ceremony of the event on Tuesday, and the three-day plenary sessions focused on the theme for the 5th edition of the summit. Also, the President of Nigeria says Nigerians' new digital currency iNaira will increase the country's gross domestic product by $29 billion over the next 10 years. The President said it on Monday at the unveiling of the iNaira at the State House. And according to the President, the launch of iNaira makes Nigeria the first country in Africa and one of the first few countries globally to introduce a digital currency. The new payment system, which took the Central Bank of Nigeria 4 years to roll out, is expected to drive financial inclusion, serve as a backbone for electronic payment in Nigeria, and also enable the movement of more people from the informal to the formal sector, hence scaling up the tax base of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday swore in 2 new national commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. They are Professor Mohammed Sani Kala from Katsina State and Professor Kunle Cornelius Ajayi from Ekiti State. A statement in Abuja by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, said that 2 are among the 6 Senate cleared in July. President Buhari had on September 15, 2021, sworn in 3 of the cleared national commissioners. The swearing-in took place before the official launch of the iNaira and the 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back for more stories.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do na make you go for the up, open am. Take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again, my brother no waste time again. Just go buy Banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081 63 974447, 080 35 64 4436, 070 66 63 8213. Banga Fresh Palm Fruit Extract.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. We're looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Welcome back. And now in more stories, there have been concerns over harassment, torture, unlawful arrest, detention, physical assault and threats to lives of journalists in Nigeria in the course of their duties. The most recent is the attack on some journalists during the NSAS memorial across the country. And now, Oludayo Ogunbowale, Special Advisor on Communications to Oyo State Governor, joins us via phone call to help make sense of this. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Margaret. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Now, talking about this abuse, the blatant abuse of journalists and media personalities, do you think it's the blatant abuse of power and a breach on the constitutional rights of journalists from performing their statutory duties?
Well, any form of breach of insecurity on any human life is a breach of the Constitution. All lives matter. Well, we're talking about journalists here, and of course it's my constituency. Permit me to quickly say I'm not special advisor, that's my boss. I'm special assistant on communication to the government. Okay, yeah, all right. So all lives matter. I think we should start from there. The value, the premium we place on life in the country today really needs an upgrade. Unfortunately, it's not just the journalists in Abuja. There's a man called Daddy Yata. As we speak, for over 100 days, he's still missing. We don't know whether it's dead or alive. Government across board needs to do better to ensure safety of life of every single journalist. I listened to a couple of people who, shared their opinion about the journalist missing currently in Abuja. Everybody has something nice to say about him. As a matter of fact, one of them even said this young man does not carry stories that would draw attention unnecessarily. So the question is, who is afraid of him? And if you ask me, I want to ask, who is afraid of the journalists? Who is afraid of pushing out information? For some, in some circumstances, if you want to check out corruption, you say follow the money. But the average journalist, whether print or broadcast or even online, pushes out information. So the question is, what information did that young man push out that someone is afraid of? Let's assume he's been victimized based on his story that he published. Okay, so the average life matters. I think that's where to start from. Very important. However, it is important to note that in the last 10 years, the number of journalists that have disappeared, or some that have been outrightly attacked, some that have been threatened, is on the increase. And for a democratic government, this does not speak well. Across board, it does not speak well. That's why I said the relationship between government and journalists need to be worked upon. I work with the government today. It's a privilege. I tell myself and I tell people that a good number of people who are still, colleagues in this sector, just like you, Margaret, will probably look at some of us now and say, all those people on the other side. No, we're still colleagues. And of course, it behooves persons like me to ensure that government, pushes policies and makes decisions that will help support the average journalist out there. It would not be fair if I do not also mention that better cooperation between government, and when I say government, I mean across board, federal, state, local government, better cooperation is needed. We are colleagues, we are partners in governance, and that's why we call persons in the media members of the fourth estate of realm in a democracy. You have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The media is the fourth estate of realm. The media is actually part of governance. That's the voice of the people.
Now, talking about
government needs to do better.
Talking about the media being the fourth tier of the government, do you think there's trying to be a clamp down on the media as it poses to a threat to all the abilities of the media to serve as a societal watchdog with the responsibility of holding the government accountable?
Okay, you mean cracking down?
Clamping down the media. We do because we know we are the fourth tier of the government, as you rightly said, the fourth estate, and our duty is rather to hold the government responsible for their actions, and also we owe members of the public credible information. So the clamp down, what do you think about it?
Okay, well, I can speak for my government. I work with Engineer Sheyi Makinde, Deputy Governor for your state, and he has a very, very robust relationship with the media. It goes without saying. Just ask any journalist who works in your state. So yes, I can speak for the person I work with, and I can only suggest or advise other players in the political field or in governance across the nation to do better. No government is perfect in terms of relating with media personalities, journalists across board. That's why I said more needs to be done. It's totally wrong. Let me just say it. I know that's what you're expecting me to say.
I expect you to say what is actually correct.
It is wrong.
Okay.
In every facet, cracking down on media practitioners is wrong. However, I think it's also important I mention here, while this does not justify cracking down, it's important that a new level of professionalism. Okay, and I must emphasize again that this does not justify cracking down. However, we need more quality from journalists. We need more level of professionalism from journalists. Situations where certain media practitioners threaten, government, politically exposed persons and say, if you don't do this, I will push this story about you. That's tantamount to blackmail. And sometimes this is what leads to the crackdown. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time. However, I must put that caveat because I know people might want to quote me. This also still does not justify cracking down on the media practitioners. And it is wrong. All facets, it is wrong to attack journalists. It is wrong to arrest journalists unnecessarily. It is wrong to make journalists disappear. I know there's a particular United Nations Day. I don't know if it's in September or August. Days for the people, special days for people who disappeared. Victims of enforced disappearances. There's a particular United Nations Day like that for you to know that it's a major issue across the world. This has to stop. It should not continue. There should be better relationship between government and journalists.
All right. Finally, before we end this segment, what the media has to further state of the government, there's a need for press freedom, of course, which is rightly is not being practiced. So, what are the steps you think this can be actualized to have a better working system, a better working relationship between the government and also the media?
Okay, I think it starts with persons like me, people in my shoes, media heads to governors, to commissioners, to presidents. Go check it. There's always a media practitioner, there's always a media aide. I think we need to do better as aides to politicians to ensure that better relationship happens, between our principals and our colleagues in the industry. Many times, advices that these, politicians take out also from colleagues. So if you see a politician, behaving somehow to journalists, it's because the person close to him is, giving him some ill advices. So really, it will start with the media heads, if you ask me. If I mention 2-3 names now in the presidency, journalists who say certain things, I'm sure you can, I won't mention any name here, but some names will readily come to mind. So person, he has spoken again. This paints a particular image. And really, if we can work on it, it will really help. Press freedom will happen when you allow the average pressman do his job without fear and favor. And I think this is possible. I believe it is possible. It's happening in my state. Medina Makinde is doing his very best to support media houses. There's an influx of radio stations in Oyo State as we speak, almost rivaling Lagos State. It's because people find it easy to do their job here.
All right, thank you so much, Oladayo.
Thank you very much for having me, Margaret.
You're welcome. That was Oladayo Ogubowale. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we have more news for you. Stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiviv Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiviv family.
Thank you for staying with us. And now in more stories, Chairman and Chief Executive of the Nigerian National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Mara, retired, has lamented the Nigerian's drug addiction is thrice the global average. Mara, who gave the charge for the rooting out of the drug barons and cartels on Monday to officers and men of the agency's strike force call at the graduation ceremony of 143 officers from the Special Operations Training at the Nigerian Army Schools of Infantry, Nasi, Jaji in Kaduna State. Mara, who ordered the rooting out of drug barons and cartels from their various hideouts across the country, said the drug scourge in Nigeria is unacceptable, with almost 15 million Nigerians abusing substances, 20% of whom are addicted, which is 3 times the global average. Now, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mugono, on Monday warned that nobody or group should test the resolve by the federal government to guarantee the November 6th gubernatorial elections in Anambra State. The NSA, who spoke at a meeting of inter-security agencies for the elections, where the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, also said the commission was determined to ensure that the Anambra election takes place as scheduled, because according to him, 12 out of 14 items had already taken place. Moving on, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) yesterday urged the federal government to engage the tools of persuasion instead of force to get its citizens vaccinated against the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. It stated that while the vaccine remains the only chance for Nigerians to fight the pandemic and guarantee safety of their lives, the government must ensure that workers can get vaccinated at their workplaces. The call is coming after the federal government gave a deadline of November 30 for all civil servants to get vaccinated or show a negative test result before they can enter into any of its ministry, department, or agency. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress and International Trade Union Confederation, Comrade Ayuba Waba, who spoke yesterday in Abuja during a news conference on the federal government COVID-19 vaccination advisory for the federal civil servants, assured workers that the COVID-19 vaccines available in the country are safe and effective against the pandemic. Now, still to come, interim government orders ECOWAS envoy to leave Mali within 72 hours. Details after the short break. And now on the African scene, Sudan's military seized power from a transitional government on Monday, and the health ministry officials said 7 people were killed by gunfire and 140 injured in clashes between soldiers and street protesters. The leader of the takeover, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, dissolved the military and civilian sovereign council that had been established to guide the country to democracy following the overthrow of long-reigning autocrat Omar al-Bashir in a popular uprising 2 years ago. Burhan announced a state of emergency, saying the armed forces needed to protect safety and security. He promised to hold elections in July 2023 and hand over to an elected civilian government then. And now in Mali, Mali's transitional government has ordered an envoy of the 15-nation West African regional bloc to leave the country within 72 hours because of actions incompatible with his status. The Economic Community of West African States, known as ECOWAS, is pressing Mali's transitional leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, who seized power in a coup in August 2020, to respect his pledge to hold presidential and legislative elections in February 2022. The group threatened sanctions against Mali if elections are not held by that date. Goïta's government on Monday declared the ECOWAS special representative, Hamadou Boli, persona non grata and ordered him to leave the country, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now the foreign scene, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who fell short of a majority in last month's election, will introduce a cabinet on Tuesday that analysts say should hone in on the fight against climate change. Trudeau's Liberals gained 4 seats to 159, but fell short of the 170 needed to pass legislation without the support of an opposition party. Minority governments normally last about 2 years instead of a full 4-year term. Trudeau, who is 49, has promised to spend tens of billions of extra dollars over 5 years to help the economy recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. But analysts said Ottawa should narrow its focus and make fighting climate change a clear priority. Turkey and its Western allies climbed down from a full-blown diplomatic crisis on Monday after foreign embassies said that they abide by diplomatic conventions on non-interference, averting a threatened expulsion of 10 ambassadors. President Tayyip Erdogan, who said at the weekend had ordered the envoys to be declared persona non grata for seeking the release of a jailed philanthropist, told a news conference they had stepped back and would be more careful. Erdogan said in a televised address after chairing a cabinet meeting that the goal is never to create crisis, it is to protect the rights, law, honor and sovereignty of our country. Coming up next is business news. And now in business, the World Bank has decried the continued spending by the Nigerian government on petrol subsidy, which has said it's on track to gobble up 2.9 trillion naira this year. Its country director for Nigeria, Shubham Chaudhuri, who spoke on Monday at a panel session during the 27th National Economic Summit, said the country could channel the money being spent on subsidies to primary health care, basic education and rural roads. Also speaking at the session, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said the federal government had made provision for petrol subsidy till the end of June next year. The World Bank director, who likened Nigeria to a malnourished individual needing urgent treatment, said some critical decisions need to be made now for the country to realize its potential. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has said that all transactions conducted on the newly launched digital currency platform eNaira will be free for 90 days. The bank, however, stated that it will revert to its guide on applicable charges by banks and other financial and non-financial institutions at the end of the stated period. The Apex Bank disclosed this in the framework titled eNaira Circular and Guidelines, released on Monday. The news is coming after President Buhari launched the currency in Abuja on Monday. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, had said 33 Nigerian banks have joined the eNaira platform and the Apex Bank has minted 500 million naira worth of digital currency. Emefiele said that these are the ceremony to launch Nigeria's central bank digital currency on Monday at the presidential villa, noting that the platform has recorded an influx of users. The CBN governor also explained that the eNaira and physical naira are the same legal tender and will have the same value, which will be accepted anywhere in the country. Emefiele also added that since the eNaira platform went live, the website received over 2.5 million visits daily, while pledging that there would be strict adherence to the anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism standards in order to preserve the integrity and stability of Nigeria's payment system. Coming up next is entertainment.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract.
Thank you for joining me on the entertainment news. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Ross Gaffer said Svetnoy has blamed Helena Hutchins' death on negligence. In an emotional Facebook post, he said he was standing next to the cinematographer when she was shot and killed on set. Speaking on the events that led to the fatal shooting, he blamed it on negligence and unprofessionalism. In his words, quote, "The negligence from the person who was supposed to check the weapon on the site but did not do this. The person who had to announce that the loaded gun was on the site did not do this. The person who should have checked this weapon before bringing it to the set did not do it. And the death of the human is the result. End of quote. Police have not confirmed the allegations made by Svetnoy in his post, nor has there been any official finding of negligence to date. Eliza Houghton is coming forward for the first time since her fiancé Brandon Bruce Lee died following last week's tragic accidental shooting on the set of Rust. Brandon died at 28 in a similar accident in March of 1993 on the set of his film, The Crow. Houghton, now 57, opines that the accident of the New Mexico set of Rust is yet another avoidable tragedy. She's urging those in positions to make change to consider alternatives to real guns on sets. As investigations into what happened on the Rust set continue, a Change.org petition has been launched calling for the ban on all real firearms on film and television productions. The petition was created by Banda Al-Buluwi, a director who graduated from the American Film Institute Conservatory, where Hutchins was also an alumnus. And that's all on the entertainment news. It's back to Margaret. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.
Public relations as one of the marketing promotional tools is how an important part of modern business management is not realized. This is because public relations is often suspected as an equated in the eye of some members of the public with an attempt to deceive, to pull the wool over our eyes. Now, it is worthy to note that public relations as a tool can be used to facilitate development in any country that is desperate for social, economic, political, and technological development. My name is Margaret Opera, and this is Legal Connect. On today's edition of Legal Connect, to help us put this topic into context, we have here in the studio Jide Ologun, a legal practitioner, a solicitor and advocate of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and also a national development advocate and public affairs analyst. Thank you, Jide, for joining us.
Thank you too.
Quite an interesting profile there. So we are discussing public relations and national development. So before we go into the topic proper, public relations, what is public relations in your definition?
Let's start with the basic definition. It is the deliberate, planned, and sustained effort to establish and maintain mutual understanding between an organization and its publics. And in public relations, we talk about publics in plural form. You have the internal publics, you have the external publics. And what you focus at achieving is that mutual understanding. And you will agree with me that in the human endeavor, relationship is very important. And if you want to take the 1978 Mexican statement about public relations, it is described as the art and social science of monitoring trends, predicting their consequences, and recommending to either the organization or government or clients, implementable programs that can be embarked upon to ensure that you either prevent a crisis or bring mutual benefit. So by and large, it's a mutual benefit strategy. And basically we say that it's a way of strategically managing a brand to earn robust image and of course reputation, and communicate yourself effectively through the right messages to the right audience at the right time. And by extension also, one of the key concerns of public relations is crisis management. And in PR, we say that proactive crisis management is more rewarding than reactive crisis management. And proactive means that you must have been monitoring the issues before they degenerate into crisis. And it is costlier when you engage at the point of reaction. And we have a lot of communication tools, and again, it's instructive to know that research is critical to success in public relations, because every campaign starts with research continues with research, and ends in research, so that you go around the circle to sustain that robust image and reputation with the target audience.
All right, so how does it relate? Relating this to national development, what's the relationship with it?
Okay, let me isolate some cases. For example, look at the issue of insecurity we have in the country. Naturally, we are embattled by climate change, which is a global phenomenon, because some countries of the world are going through that, which has made it compelling for headers, for instance, not to sustainably engage the Chad Basin for their businesses. So they need to go to other parts of the country. So that is a need. But in the process of doing that, we've had reported cases of farmers' headers clashes, killing, raping, maiming, destroying businesses. Now, where public relations comes in is in the area of conflict resolution. There will always be conflicts when it comes to managing relationships. And there are 5 basic components of very prudent and successful conflict resolution. You need to look at the source of the conflict. You need to look at beyond the incident. You need to look for solution. And you look for solutions that are acceptable to the two parties. You bring them to the point of agreement, and you sustain that agreement. Now, let's amplify the case of Benue State, where headers were allegedly killing farmers. Now, farmers are into their business. You are into your own business. If you must bring your cows to their farm, must you destroy their produce? So you need to really appreciate that, okay, you have a need to feed your cows. Farmers also have a need to invest, plant, harvest, and feed the market. All right, so there is a need to pursue prosperity by the two stakeholders. Now, the incidents of killing, let's look beyond it. Is it about the business, or there is a deeper motive involved? Then how can we solve the problem? Can we embark on ranching? That, okay, you don't need to come into farmers' farms, have your ranch, grow the grass, or Sambusa forest is over there. We divert the resource of the country into irrigation to make sure they rear their cows, fly them down to Lagos with chartered aircrafts if they can afford it, because it's a private concern. All right, so that we can have peace. Then you bring stakeholders together. It's not that you now start saying, okay, when they come attacking, don't retaliate. No, you must listen, you must dialogue, you must come to a position that is beneficial to both parties. And when they now come to this agreement, you sustain it and you have peace. That is the fruitful template of conflict resolution. And if you are not good in managing relationships, particularly with the engagement of what we call emotional intelligence in HR, you just allow the crisis to fester. And we have in industrial psychology also what is called reinforcement theory. So if you don't stop it at a particular stage, it can escalate to a higher stage.
All right, so as a legal practitioner, are there legal boundaries that guide public relations in Nigeria?
Absolutely. We have the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations that was established in 1963 and became a chartered body by Decree 16 of 1990, now an act of the Parliament, to manage the membership, the standard of education, the regulation of public relations practice in Nigeria. And that institute is doing very well and has gone into collaboration with Global Alliance that is domiciled in Switzerland. And and that's what we're saying. The institute is available to advise the government on how to engage issues. But we also say in consultancy that what you can do is to make recommendations. Whether these recommendations are implemented or not is a different thing. So we have laws and ethics in the profession that guide the practice in the country. And like I said, the NIPR and presently our president is Malam Mukhtar Sirajo, fellow of the institute. So and the institute is quite vibrant, and we have always advised from time to time that the government can consult. That is, if they want to consult, and having consulted, allow the recommendations to be implemented. The problems in this country are solvable.
Problems in the country are solvable. Yes. Now, earlier in your conversation, you mentioned about you mentioned something like that, like an organization now, and also putting the society into the context. Now the question is the correlation between the organization and an organization and the society, because it seems like they go hand in hand. So we want to understand more.
To the general business community, you focus on the bottom line, profits. But in public relations, there are 5 pillars of business. You talk about the growth, you talk about the survival, you talk about the profitability, you talk about employee satisfaction, and you talk about the corporate social responsibility, which we call social investment. And that aspect is like the bridge that brings business, society, the business environment, and the people together. And that is why you find organizations giving back to the society through sponsorship, through developmental projects. Like you must have heard in the Niger Delta region that this particular organization is doing electrification projects, empowering schools and things like that, so that you can have the mutual understanding and you can come across to the society as a corporate citizen, a responsible corporate citizen that is not just taken from the environment, but giving back to the environment. And I think that is how I can explain that aspect. So by and large, public relations practitioners has to ensure that the organization has an enable environment. You see, you don't force it, you create it. So we have community relations, we have different kinds of arms of public relations with experts that can handle them. For example, if you are going to cite, look at the refinery that has been cited in Lagos. Before you get to the stage it is now, there must have been engagements with the stakeholders, the primary landowners, even when you are buying land from them, the host community, to ensure that you have peace. Okay, now look at what we have in the petroleum industry bill, the prescribed 3% profit sharing to the host community. You even first need to define who a host community is, all right? And you look at the 30% that is being proposed to be given to explore other regions of the country for oil. So when you look at all this, what you're trying to achieve is to have peace and have a very vibrant image and reputation. Let me give the example of Rwanda. I think in 2018, Rwanda brought in about $400 million in terms of revenue through tourism. And through what? People coming to Rwanda to just watch gorillas, And what the government did is to go into collaboration with the communities where these gorillas are. So they share the revenue with the community. In fact, I think they even conduct naming ceremonies for baby gorillas that are born. So the people are part of the project. So they are not rising up to threaten to eliminate the gorillas. So you see that symbiotic relationship. You can imagine that we have synergy between the people of the Niger Delta and the federal government of Nigeria that, we are going to protect these facilities. What is the need for us? Okay, let's educate you. Let's do this and that. And let's enjoy what we have. But in a situation where we appear to be working at variance, we are just sitting upon wealth, but foolishly allowing that wealth to become a liability to us. What should be an asset is now a liability. So you need to be able to manage all this. And with what Rwanda has done, brands across the world focusing on that image and reputation are beginning to flow into that region. I know Arsenal already signed, a deal in Rwanda and other top brands in the world. Look at the case of Ghana. Because in public relations, you talk about your economic environment. We were debating why should Twitter not come to Nigeria? But Twitter told us we need to know if your environment is enabling or disabling. And because Ghana has presented herself as a nation that has respect for the rule of law and has an enabling environment for business, Toyota is comfortable to go and set up in Ghana. Twitter is comfortable to go and set up office in Ghana. And other brands, the United States of America is comfortable to go into a collaboration with Ghana in the area of free visa to a particular number of weeks when you enter America without, so, and that is what you achieve. You create friends, you don't build a wall.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you, Didi Ologun, for granting this interview. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back to you for more of this conversation.
It's all right.
All right, we'll be speaking with Didi Ologun, a legal practitioner. We'll take a short break now. After the break, we have more interesting segments with Didi Ologun, so stay with us. You're welcome back if you're just tuning in. This is Legal Connect and we are discussing public relations and national development. We still have Didi Ologun, a legal practitioner in the studio. But then, Didi, you are a legal practitioner, and you're discussing public relations, and what is the connection?
Great question. By God's grace, I became a lawyer at the age of 23. And having practiced law for about 14 years, I just felt that I could do more. And I asked a simple question, can you really do more? And my answer was yes. So I had to go and check for other professions of interest. And public relations happened to be a profession I took interest in. So I had to go back to school to study public relations to qualify. And I must say, it's been a very wonderful experience, and that has also taken me into HR and management and other areas. And what inspired me was something I read, that children don't lack capacity, they lack teachers. And that means if you have a child and you bring 10 languages teachers around that child will learn to speak all the languages. So I say to all our great audience that whatever you set your mind to achieve, you can achieve it. And there is no limit to the value you can add to yourself, because the best form of investment is investment in personal development. So, and that is why we are here today.
Yeah, and I was going to ask
public
also,
relations.
What are the skills related to work with public relations? Because everybody can do it, but then is it something that sometimes you have an innate ability and you have to develop it, or you could just learn it from scratch?
You can learn almost anything you choose to learn, like I just mentioned, but you have a natural flair for, you need emotional intelligence. You are managing people from diverse backgrounds. You need to be able to understand them. Then you need to be very good in writing, in speaking, in preparing messages, in turning the good news of the organization to sweet stories out there. For example, if I were to be in the presidency advising the president, what Twitter did, I could have used it to ensure that Twitter comes domiciled physically in Nigeria. Rather than react the way I would have advised my boss, oh, this is a brilliant opportunity to express how accommodating and understanding we are, and you embark on that part of responding and not reacting.
All right. Now, would you say there are any specific difference as regards to public relations in Nigeria and what we see in international communities?
Absolutely, and it may not be far from the macro operational environment that we have. In the USA, for instance, a young man can walk up to Donald Trump that, hey, guy, I don't like what you're doing. You got to explain to me. You don't do that in Nigeria. You know.
You can't even go close to the vehicle of the president.
Exactly. So it's a matter of orientation. And here, we take criticism as they don't like me. Well, it's not the people want you to succeed. You see, I mean, you can recall the first handset that came to Nigeria, Sajem.
Yeah.
If we are insisting, if that is what we are still using today, I think we would have been so bored. You've had different brands come out of that, and it's because of critique. You must criticize. If that system is not working and people are suggesting to you how it can work, why don't you listen and implement? Like Nigerians are doing now. We are asking for state policing. We are asking for moving some things out of the exclusive legislative list, energizing our economy. Is anything wrong in ensuring that the Commonwealth is for the common good? So rather than see it as, oh, they are against me, they just want to help you succeed. I've said it. In the Second Republic, Alhaji Shehu Shagari was the president. I'm sure you won't remember who the Minister of Education was or who the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture was, but you won't forget that Alhaji Shehu Shagari was the president, and that is leadership. History will document all that has happened. And for those who are there to advise the government at that level, some of them are also afraid of losing their jobs. So sometimes they probably do not give the appropriate advice in the direction of good governance. Maybe just give what they think their boss wants to hear. But when the cookie crumbles, it will be like we try to tell him, but that is wrong. Your loyalty must first be to the nation before the boss. And that is why when some of us read news that somebody left Aso Villa, it was then he realized there were demons in Aso Villa. You asked yourself, why did you see the demons when you were there? Because our concern must be how to migrate this nation onto the platform of prosperity and development. So, sir, there are boundaries that guide public relations in Nigeria. Do you have to mention for a few of them? We have when you look at the operational environment, the media and some other platforms, you have regulations guiding them that you must subscribe to. Like I said, public relations is not in isolation. In fact, in close synergy with media, marketing, and some other professional outlets. But let's look, for example, at the ban on Twitter. It has really done a lot of damage to some professionals. Even though necessity is border of invention, you have to maneuver to ensure you keep going. And like I said earlier, it should have been considered initially, the benefits and the woes of that decision before it was taken. I doubt if Twitter is losing more than Nigeria is losing. I think within 2 days, we lost about 4.4 billion naira reportedly. So you can imagine now, many businesses that were adversely affected. So we are subject to the regulations in the land. And that is why we expressed a lot of concern when there was an attempt to come up with the social media regulation bills. People like us say you don't regulate. That is the essence of the government, to regulate relationships, to facilitate peace in the land. But when you are doing it, don't make it draconic as if you are attacking businesses. You must create an enabling environment, platform, ease of doing business. So we are subject to the laws of the land, really. And the NIPR does not joke with practitioners playing by the rules. It's not allowed at all. And then there are control mechanisms to ensure that you are within the confines of the professional mandates. So if all of these laws are existent and there is, from the government now, you could see that they are trying to regulate a lot of things and ban the media, and that's not an infringement on the rule of law. You see, and that is a very tight question, in the sense that by putting the government structure, we have subscribed authority into the hands of the government. But having said that, we have 109 senators in the House of Senate. We have 360 House of Reps members. We have Houses of Assembly in the states to represent the people in coming up with laws that can enhance the fortunes of the people. And sometimes it's worrisome that people will need to protest in an environment where there is top respect for the rule of law. You hardly find people protesting. I cannot imagine the last time I read about a protest in Switzerland, a protest in Sweden, a protest in Iceland. You know what I mean? A protest in the UAE. So, and these are issues that concern all of us. The concern of Nigerians, really, whether you talk about agitation or whatever, is that we should have a country that reflects our motto. And what is that motto? Unity, faith, peace, and progress. Where there is justice, where there is equity, where there is an enabling environment, where there is prosperity. With the resources in Nigeria, we have no business being on the list of poor countries. At all. And these are concerns of professionals. And having spoken so much about the profession of public relations, we have in Nigeria the PABN, the Professionals Association of Nigeria, body of professionals that can also advise the government. We have the NBA, the surveyors, the different kinds of professionals coming together. And that is if the government is willing to subscribe to the available advisory resources in the society. And of course, when you take the definition of democracy, that's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, you must make it participatory. Also learn from them how to make their lives better.
Right. Thank you so much, Jide Ologun, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you right here in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. Thank you so much. And that was Jide Ologun, a legal practitioner and also a public relations expert. And that's all we have for you on this edition or this episode of Legal Connect. Join us next time for more. My name is Margaret Opara.
Hi, my name is Tosin Pedro.
Your show glass boyfriend, Smooth Prince. I go by the name Kelvin Budge, aka Laylo.
Hi, my name is Elfrida.
My name is Phil, aka The Commercial Guy.
I go by the name Mix Kid. I'm happy to be here. My name is Desmond Kid. I'm a comedian.
And keep watching
iBrandTV.
Because it's a big TV. Don't off that TV.
Stay tuned, don't go nowhere.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, born on the 13th of June 1954, is a Nigerian-born economist and international development expert. She sits on the boards of Standard Chartered Bank, Twitter, Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, GAVI, and the African Risk Capacity, ARC. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala spent a 25-year career at the World Bank as a development economist, scaling the ranks to the number 2 position of Managing Director, Operations from 2007 to 2011. She also served 2 terms as Finance Minister of Nigeria from 2003 to 2006 and also from 2011 to 2015. Under the leadership of President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan, respectively. During her campaign to become the next Director General of the World Trade Organization, it was revealed that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala became a U.S. citizen in 2019 after spending several decades working and studying in the United States of America. Okonjo-Iweala served twice as Nigerian Finance Minister and also as Minister of Foreign Affairs. She was the first female to hold both positions. During her first term as Minister of Finance under President Olusegun Obasanjo's administration, she spearheaded negotiations with the Paris Club that led to the wiping out of $13 billion of Nigeria's debts, including the outright cancellation of $18 billion. In 2003, she led efforts to improve Nigeria's macroeconomic management, including the implementation of an oil price-based fiscal rule where revenues occurring above a reference benchmark oil price were saved in a special account. She also introduced the practice of publishing each state monthly financial allocations from the federal government of Nigeria in the newspapers. These actions went a long way in increasing transparency in government. With the support of the World Bank and the IMF to the federal government of Nigeria, she helped build an electronic financial management platform, the Government Integrated Financial Management and Information System, GIFMIS, including the Treasury Single Account, TSA, and the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS, helping to curtail corruption in the process. As of December 31, 2014, the IPPIS platform had eliminated 62,893 ghost workers from the system and saved the Nigerian government about $1.25 billion in the process. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was also instrumental in helping Nigeria obtain its first sovereign credit rating of baby minors from Fitch Ratings and Standard & Poor's in 2006. Following her first term as Minister of Finance, she returned to the World Bank as a Managing Director in December 2007. In 2011, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was reappointed as Minister of Finance in Nigeria with the expanded portfolio of the coordinating minister for the economy by President Goodluck Jonathan. Her legacy includes strengthening Nigeria's public financial systems and stimulating the housing sector with the establishment of the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Corporation (NMRC). She also empowered Nigerians women youth with the Growing Girls and Women in Nigeria program (GWIN), a gender-responsive budgeting system, and highly acclaimed youth enterprise with innovation program (UWIN) to support entrepreneurs that created thousands of jobs.
iBrandTV. Business first.